We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
If they would have gone through the routine C-section and that baby was unharmed just because she was following through and really wanting to understand what it would feel like, and she did it. But of course, going through workshop gives a lot more, because normally a woman gives birth the way she was born. If she was not born well, it means that her body doesn't really know how to give birth. If she was numb, if she was drugged, her body literally goes into this numbness with anything related to the birthing field. And that's the problem with C-section, that all those baby girls that were born by C-section are now having to do a lot of work to learn anything about birth, because that is how female body gets those basic settings, the programming about the procreation, just by being born. And when the being born part was deleted, then there is no information in that body about giving birth. So all that generation will require surgery, gas to get to the hospital, functioning roads, functioning hospitals. We as species are now dependent on this mechanism of modern hospitals. And that's a scary thought in the light of all the upcoming, who knows what's coming. If we're going off the grid, if the weather cataclysms, if the water is rising, who knows what's at stake in the near future. And if we are going off the grid, it means that we're only one generation away from basically extinction as a species.
Yeah.
Because women do not know how to give birth.
Wow. That's intense.
It is intense.
Man. Wow. So if somebody wanted to get in touch with you to do a workshop or something, they would go to your website?
birthintobeing.com or birthasweknowit.com. The birthasweknowit.com is just about the movie, and Birth Into Being has the calendar of my workshops all over the world. Next year I'm teaching apprenticeship training in Australia, then one in India, 3 in Europe. So I'm constantly on the road and sharing and teaching my workshops. But even if it's not coming to my workshops, I'm sure in wherever you are, there is plenty of practitioners that could help you to heal your own birth trauma and free your system from contraction, if there is one, about anything about birth. And the focus is starting to prepare before even conception. Not after you find out that you're pregnant, but start preparing your body for conscious conception a couple months before the conscious conception, and make it as the most beautiful experience in your life. That's the ticket to conscious living, is conscious procreation.
When we were in the workshop, I mean, there were people that were like 70 years old who aren't going to be having children. They just want to heal themselves from past trauma.
Right.
Yeah, and I did some deep work. I thought that was amazing. And her video, Birth as We Know It, that's what me and Angela saw at the Raw Food Film Festival, and we knew we were going to come see Elena after that. So thanks again, Elena, for coming on.
Yeah, lately I have a lot of young people, young men in their mid-20s that are coming to these workshops just for themselves, to free themselves from the burden of bad habit of being contracted. It's nothing other than the bad habit. It's sort of like basic settings that our nervous system was pushed in very early in life, and we don't have a reference point what it would be like not being shoved into this very narrow place of being uncomfortable, of having to expect some kind of, you know, painful experience in life, of having to hide and not being able to openly, heart to heart, connect with everybody, with the world, with themselves. It's very, very different quality of life when we can walk freely without having to hide, or not even knowing that we're hiding. It's a very different experience to be free. I can speak about circumcision. That fold of skin that is being routinely cut off from baby boys in the hospital as the very first experience of their being in the body right after birth. That tiny piece of skin contains 20,000 erogenous nerve endings. It's the specific nerve endings that are not found anywhere else in the body. Their only function is to know pleasure. So for a circumcised person, whether it's a man or a woman, there is still about 3 million women per year that are being circumcised in the world. For a circumcised person, it's very difficult to understand the pleasure, the way our bodies are designed to know it. That's the special organ that is responsible for knowing your own pleasure and knowing where your sexual partner is in regards with the interaction and the intercourse. It's a very important organ in the body. It's a very important organ in the body. That's the thing. And the fact that the baby is being robbed, you know, of that body part is quite intense, because basically that is the most exquisite torture that the human body can experience. There is nowhere else in the body that the tissue is that sensitive. And that foreskin is being slowly cut off without anesthesia when the baby is just strapped to the table. It doesn't do any good.
So I guess it's just a myth when they say infections and stuff like that. And it's
there is no medical indication, and even American Medical Association does not recommend circumcision. There is absolutely no need in it. Those European countries, well, in Europe they only circumcise Muslim and Jewish population, but among the rest of the population, the statistics and all the possible threats are not any different. The urinary tract infection, STDs, HIV, nothing that is taken as a study group. It's not an issue. The thing is, well, the reason of cleanliness, well, what about the mouth? Let's pull out baby's teeth so it will be clean mouth, you know. You just learn hygiene, and, you know, what if his hands will get dirty?
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.